So we are officially vlogging on the Canon R6 Mark III. We've got Will, and apparently it's winter. So winter came early, actually, for the first time in 56 years. 1969, October 22nd was the first time we had snow, I guess snow earlier, but usually it happens around like the middle of December. But today we have a mission, part Q&A on the Canon R6 Mark III, part vlog test, because everyone wants to know, well, how are the Canon IBIS wobbles? I don't know, you tell me. And then we have a mission, because we have winter and we have fall colors, I'm hoping we'll still see something that you normally wouldn't see at this time of year. So stay tuned to the end to see if we get it. It's Christmas, Will. It's Christmas. Look at this. This is so wrong. We have green leaves on the ground. Green leaves in winter, but it's November. Technically November. Wait, is it winter officially? No, it's still fall. Unbelievable. Might actually need to put the drone up to get the fall colors. Everyone's probably wondering what the heck's going on here.
It's kind of goofy.
Well, listen, let me tell you, this is maybe like an early surprise, but I got an iPhone.
Yeah.
First iPhone. That is a separate video. That is not this video, but does this work? Does that? I've never had the isn't there supposed to be? Oh, look, it worked. But we're gonna be doing some POV of shooting, and I figured this is the most efficient way to do it because I've actually got the mic on this attachment and then the iPhone here as well, because I only brought the R6 Mark III. I didn't bring my R5 Mark II. So this is the setup we're rocking. Will, what do you think of the of this? Should I show everyone?
Yeah, it looks a little goofy, but if it works, it works.
So this is what we got for POV, but more on this in another video. Okay, so we're still recording on the R6 Mark III. This entire video is shot on the R6 Mark III, but time for some rapid fire questions. What happens if you use any of the old batteries? So these LPE6NH versus this LPE6P battery. If you plug one in, it tells you lose the ability to use some accessories and you lose networking functionality, which means you won't have Wi-Fi, you won't have the ability to transfer photos to the Camera Connect app. Surprisingly, there's no sacrifice of recording formats, so you don't lose the ability to record in 7K or OpenGate or 60p or 120p, but you do lose the ability to do burst photos. So even if you throw it into that H or that H+, it will throttle back your burst shutter speed. How is the rolling shutter? So I've got an example of that coming up. How is the dynamic range? Well, since I can't edit the RAW files yet, I don't know, but my recommendation is to always shoot in full RAW, not C-RAW, otherwise you'll have noise in the shadows, and use full mechanical shutter. That way you're getting full 14-bit RAW files. Are the 8.5 stops of IBIS better? So from the briefing I was given, the 8.5 stop rating is because Canon slightly tweaked the way that it rates its IBIS to put it more in line with industry standard. It was already industry standard before, but I guess it was a little bit more strict before, and so now they're using a standard that's more comparable to what other brands are doing, so that extra little bit of IBIS probably doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, you've got, what, both an R5 II and an R6 II? So how do you feel about the Canon IBIS wobbles? Because one of the questions everyone's asking is, how are the IBIS in-body image stabilization wobbles?
I feel like it's such a specific issue to YouTube. I personally never really noticed it. It's one of those things that because everyone knows about it, everyone is just looking for it, and it's like one of those things people critique.
So I'm at 17 mil right now, so I can go a little bit wider. So that's the widest. And I find if you do crop it in just a little bit, you don't notice it as much. You can apply all like the digital image stabilization modes, but I feel like they're a little bit artificial. And listen, I've tested IBIS from all brands, from Fuji, from Sony. And the problem with Sony, for example, is that the footage overall in the center of the frame looks shakier. Whereas with Canon cameras, the center of the frame is more stable, but the edges get sacrificed. I don't think the IBIS is gonna change anytime soon because that's all an algorithmic thing that Canon has programmed into the way their cameras are, into the way the sensors are designed. You can watch the footage throughout this video and determine for yourself. Now, my hand is a little bit shaky. I've been holding this up for like 3 minutes, and I can see it's shaking. I could, you know, probably do 2 hands and walk slower, and maybe you wouldn't get as much, or maybe I can like, you know, I could crop into 24 mil, hold it out like this, and you probably wouldn't notice as many corner IBIS wobbles. I don't know, you tell me what you think looks better, because personally, when I'm watching other Canon shooters vlog, it's not something that bothers me. But again, that's just me. Okay, so here is a demo of me taking video of Will. If I zoom into 35, you know, that is a nice talking headshot. You can see about how far away I am from him, and even if I hold it with one hand, you don't really notice any IBIS wobbling, any jelloing. I could zoom out a little bit. It's like 24, and even then, maybe with one hand there's a little bit, but 2 hands, handheld, and a proper bracing technique, you're not gonna notice the jelloing effect, even if you have a little bit of slight movement. However, if you get on to 15 mil, and you know, simulating like a vlogging effect with one hand, you're definitely gonna notice in the top corners a little, yes, you're not even wider. You gotta go even wider than that, Will.
Yeah, like up here?
Yeah, you're not even touching the top corner. Like, that's how wide it is. So honestly, zoom in just a little bit.
Or just buy one of these.
Or buy a PowerShot V1 that has no IBIS and it just has optical stabilization. I've shot entire videos on it and they didn't even know. Everyone at home had no idea. But if you compare the footage from what these cameras looks like cold. I'm not ready for it, Will. If you compare the footage from a camera like this to footage from a 5D Mark IV that had nothing, that video looks terrible. You have all the micro shakes. The footage from any of these modern cameras, even with the IBIS wobbles, is massively better. Should we do a quick drone mission?
I don't know, last time I was in this place with you in a drone, some bad stuff happened.
There's good news and bad news. DJI, help me out. It's all up there. We don't want to talk about that. Making a landing pad. You ever fly your drone in the snow? It's been snowing nonstop for the last like 36 hours. There's not really anywhere else to take off, so I gotta take off and out. Okay, we got connection. Made a landing pad for the drone. The last time I flew a drone in this forest, it hit a tree. As you can see, there are a lot of trees above us, and so out is the way we're gonna be going. Can you add custom picture styles? Like all of Canon's cameras, there's the ability to go in and add user-defined settings. So this camera has 3 of them. But if we're talking about the custom picture menu where you can go in and change all your log settings, yes, there are a ton of user-defined settings. You can go in and you can create C-Log2 or C-Log3 profiles. Now, one thing you're probably wondering is how do the LUTs or the look files work on the R6 Mark III? And the answer is that it basically bakes in whatever LUT that you apply. So if you want to use a LUT, my recommendation is to set up a custom picture style where the LUT of whatever you're choosing is visible, view the footage, and then turn it off so that it doesn't bake it into your footage. Can you toggle the pre-shooting on and off with a custom button? Yes. Can you toggle APS-C crop mode on and off with a custom button? So I assume this question was about movie cropping, meaning maybe if you're gonna throw on an APS-C lens, you can crop in the sensor. I couldn't find a way to do that. Now with JPEGs, if you're only shooting in JPEGs, of course, you can go in and there is a way to crop in or use like the digital teleconverter. Personally, I never use that, so I wouldn't even want to assign that to a custom button because you can always go into Lightroom or your editing software and crop your photos in post. This was spot number 1 I was kind of hoping for because usually the trees that are way up there hold onto their orangey leaves a little bit longer. But I think because of maybe some of the wind and the rain that we had before the snow, a lot of them are just on the ground, so the texture doesn't look as nice. I was really hoping we'd get some sample photos here, Will. But, oh, don't slip. I think we'll keep going because the drone looked like there were a couple trees up in the forest up ahead. R6III versus R6II for photos. Quick opinion.
Basically the same.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna notice much difference. 32.5 versus 24. 24 is plenty. Social media is like 2 megapixels anyways.
I think if all you're interested in photo, you can save a little bit of money and go with the R6 Mark II. Unless you want some of those pre-continuous shooting options and you want the faster CF Express cards. I will say, I can see some gold colors up here. Look at this. Definitely very unique for this time of year. Here, go take like a 1.5 meters, 2 meters in front of me. It's really, like the colors, a little bit. Yeah, it is. It's really wide. It's ultra wide. And I guess the other thing too is if you do a lot of time lapse, the new S&F mode on the R6III makes sense, but that's still more of a video function. So I think if you're more into video, R6III is gonna be a lot better. Now that being said, someone else wanted to know R6III versus original R5, because the price difference, I think right now is a lot closer than it used to be because the R5 has come down and the R6III has gone up in value. In that case, I would say the same thing maybe. If you're more into video, R6III, but if you're more into photo, I think the original R5 might be a better value. Like if you're willing to spend the extra money to get a 5 series, it has that flash, you can like sync it with studio strobes because it's got like the proper flash input, more megapixels, faster readout of the sensor. Don't quote me on that one. Better build quality on the 5 series because full magnesium alloy build. It's kind of a toss-up. It really is kind of a toss-up. I'd say it could go either way, but if you want video, because the R6III has C-Log 2, go with the R6III. The ground texture here looks like someone peed everywhere. Am I wrong? I think it is just the color from the leaves and the color from the dirt being tracked on top of the snow. It just looks like someone peed or spilled coffee everywhere. I got one more comparison. C50 versus R6III.
I think C50 only if you are like actually shooting professional studio type like productions.
Or you need to record for long periods of time and you live in a really hot climate like Texas or Florida. But otherwise, if you're in winter wonderland up north, R6III probably will never overheat here.
For me, the R6 Mark III makes a lot more sense than the C50, but that's because I also really value
hybrid
the photos.
shooting. Yeah. So I did order the R6 Mark III. I still have my C50 coming. I haven't canceled it yet, so I have another week to decide what I'm going to do. Maybe keep them both. So a big reason that you might want to stick to a C50 is of course heat and all those extra cinema features. But another one might actually be anamorphic D-squeeze because sadly the R6 Mark III doesn't have that feature. What it also doesn't have is a crop in any of the video modes. So in full 7K 60 frames per second or in 4K 120 frames per second, there is no crop like what you get on a lot of Sony cameras. One of the things that Canon has always been good at, even going back to the original R6, is no crop or as little of a crop as possible. And as I mentioned, you can of course throw the camera into digital teleconverter APS-C mode if you are shooting with an APS-C lens and want to use that cropped in portion of the sensor. But that's elective cropping, meaning you are choosing when and where it gets activated. Can the camera record internally while also providing a clean out to an external recorder? Yes, so you can throw something like this Hollyland recorder, HDMI to your camera and get a clean out to the monitor while still recording internally. And you have the ability to apply view assist to the camera and to the HDMI separately. So if your external monitor has the ability to do LUTs, then you can send a C-Log 2 or a C-Log 3 profile to that monitor and control all of your viewing externally. Do you think we could do it? Do you think a low angle shot or?
Yeah.
The bokeh looks real nice. Holy jeez. Yeah, because then we got the texture. I get everything because we have like the hill coming up behind us. Ah, this might be it. This might be the magic. We got snow on the camera. Nice. Testing the waterproofness.
This feels so silly.
But we're gonna get bokeh because the sun is coming from over there. I think this is gonna be the magic shot. Well, this is gonna be the magic shot.
Look the other way. I just like watching the little eyebrow micro movements.
Yeah. Oh no, what did you do?
Dropped my ND in the snow. My hands are too cold. Look at my hands.
I think the wrong reason to upgrade is because suddenly you think like your image quality is going to be better, because R6 I can shoot great images, R6 II can shoot great images, R5, any of the crop sensor cameras that Canon makes can shoot great images. The better upgrade is always going to be upgrading your lenses, but you know, there are a lot of very valid questions that some of you left. You're like, well, should I get this? Should I get this? And the answer is like, look, if you're in a position to buy a full frame camera and you haven't yet, the R6 III is a great option. But there are a lot of specific questions like what has changed on the R6 III. Some people wanted to know, is the EVF or the screen different? And the answer is no, it's pretty much the same as what we had on the previous version. Now, I will say, being a Canon shooter, and having tried Sony cameras, the screens on Canon cameras are better. But again, everyone's gonna have their preference of what features they find important. Because if you're someone who's maybe rigging up to an external monitor, having the best of the screen, or having like a Nikon ZR level or a Hasselblad level screen isn't gonna matter to you. Is that trees or is that somebody walking? Or is it a bear? One thing I haven't seen with all the tests that have come out with the R6 III is a rolling shutter test. A lot of you had questions on that. So I actually tested it because we have two modes that the camera shoots in. One is 4K and 4K fine. So 4K fine uses the entire sensor, 7K oversampled or downsampled to 4K. And in that mode, the sensor readout is slower. So you're gonna have more visible rolling shutter. It's not bad, and it doesn't make the camera unusable, but if you compare it to regular 4K, not fine, not oversampled, you'll notice in this clip here that you don't get as much rolling shutter. So personally for me, for a clip like this, where we're moving kind of slow, 4K fine, 4K oversampled is actually what I've been shooting this entire video in. And you probably not noticed any rolling shutter. Will, have you noticed any rolling shutter?
No, I can't see any right now.
No, we're also not looking at the screen, but that's fine. But yeah, most of the time I'll be shooting this in 4K fine, oversampled. But if you are doing really, really fast movements, like we're talking like whip pans, then maybe just go to regular 4K.
Who's doing whip pans?
Nobody. Look at the beautiful leaves. Are we gonna do whip pans of these leaves?
What are you, shooting a horror movie?
Oh, okay, here's my thinking, is if your camera is moving that fast, you don't need the fine mode anyway, because the fine mode is so you capture all the details. And if you're doing whip pans and you're shooting on cinema lenses, it's gonna, anyways, logic. Look at this texture though, I can't get over it.
It's like a 2010, look, I'm gonna shoot like a 2010 Instagram girls, for a picture of 2010 Instagram.
This is what the R6 III was designed for. This ground texture right here. I've never seen such ground texture. It's actually so cold right now. I'm 0% worried about the R6 III overheating.
Yeah, it's not
gonna overheat. Should we tell them about the overheating test?
Does it overheat?
We'll cut back to Anthony in the studio to find out. Let's talk about overheating, because this is going to make or break this camera for a lot of users. The camera actually makes it very easy to know when the camera will or will not overheat. The first indicator is that whatever video combination settings you use, the time indicator of how much time you have left will go yellow, which actually tells you whether or not the camera will overheat. Now, there are quite a lot of modes where that yellow shows up, the big one being 4K 60 fine, which I think is gonna be the mode where a lot of users, especially those wedding run and gun shooters who wanna shoot everything in slow-mo, are gonna be interested. Now, I did a test, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, 40% relative humidity, so basically in this room right now, and I know that's not super hot. I had it tripod mounted with IS turned off and autofocus turned off to a single CF Express Type B card. So in test one, I ran it on battery power, so on one of these LPE6P batteries, and was able to get 1 hour and 33 minutes before the battery died. So the camera didn't fill up, it didn't overheat, the battery just simply ran out of time. So I did the test again with USB-C power from a V-mount. Now, that can potentially heat the camera up if your battery is not charged. So my battery was charged, so this effectively let me run the camera as long as I needed to. So I was able to get 3 hours and 15 minutes total because I actually forgot about it. And I walked away and filled up my card. So I ran the test for a third time and was dual recording. So this time both to the CF Express B and to the SD card, again in 4K, 60p, oversampled, reading the full sensor, and was able to get 5 hours without overheating because my cards simply filled up. Now, in that case, I did have the autofocus turned on and sensor stabilization was turned on, but I don't think that's ultimately gonna affect these results too much. I will put a massive disclaimer that your results will vary. So keep all this in mind for your specific use case conditions, but I think for the average user, they're not gonna have to have overheating as a main concern for this camera. But if you enjoyed this video, let me know, leave a comment down below. I think I pretty much answered everything, but if I didn't, maybe I'll follow up with a YouTube short. So until the next one, grab your camera. Oh, where's my camera? Grab your camera, get out, and go shoot photos.